Welcome back, everybody. Back trading after a long 3-day weekend here on a Tuesday. Market continuing a little bit of a slide to start the week. So, going to be interesting to see where we go throughout the remainder of the week. But, got a pretty cool new sweatshirt here. A little battle of the Bulls and the Bears. Very comfortable. Nice gray as well. I think it looks good on me. So, I'm enjoying it. First day trading in the new sweatshirt today. Went pretty well. 2 for 2 today. Nothing big, but getting a green start to the week is always good. So, let's break it down. Let's trade. All right, so first trade of the day here was on BEKE. You can see it alerting directly below me on the positive intensity scanner. Currently at about 17, looking for a nice pop up through that $half number there at 21.50. It starts popping, we get a big nice pop up towards 21.90, and I go ahead and put 200 shares out and get filled there at 21.89. You can see where it's alerting now, up at 30 almost, and there it is at 30 on BEKE on the positive intensity scanner. So in 2 minutes into the market open here to start the day, 200 shares at 21.89. It goes sideways for a few minutes, and I even start to think about putting a stop loss up over the highs because it's kind of slow after that initial move, but it comes down below my entry here, so I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, maybe if we get down towards that VWAP there, I can take half off and see if the rest want to go a bit more. And I'm kind of iffy on what I want to do with it really overall at this point, whether I just want to stop it out or if I want to wait and see if it pulls back down for me. But technically it hasn't done anything wrong yet, so I hold on and starts coming down here towards VWAP. I'm waiting a little bit more. Can it get below 21.70? It does make that move, so go ahead and take half the shares off there at a 19-cent gain. And I have 100 shares left here on BEKE. So wanting and hoping to see if those can fade a little bit further from there and hopefully make a little bit more money. It ends up going sideways again for a little bit. I go ahead and put an order out for another 50 shares at 21.55. Just kind of trying to front run that $half on this opposite side of it now that we were looking for the break earlier. So kind of trying to front run that 21.50 again if it wants to come down and get me a fill there. Another half of my remaining shares of the 100 remaining. So at this point, this trade's not really looking like it's going to be a massive winner, but hopefully can fade out a little bit more money out of it than we've got currently. So it starts coming down a little bit and almost gets me filled right there. And I start thinking to myself for a second, oh no, I hope it's not going to bounce, a penny above where I had my next cover order and then make a move back towards high a day. That would be unpleasant, but we end up sticking with it. I thought about just covering out the whole thing here for a moment, just because it's not really moving how I like these to move. But it does come down, get me a fill there at 21.55 with the next 50 shares down to 50 shares total. And with those 50 shares, I'm now thinking either 21.30 or we'll see how it breaks through 21.50. I'm hoping we see a nice strong break here through 21.50, but as you see, we break down, we only go down 2 cents initially. We get down to about 21.45 is the lowest it got to on this move here of the break of 21.50. So I'm like, okay, if it wants to continue, great. But at this point, if it wants to start bouncing back up off of a fake break of the $half, I'm just going to go ahead and cover out the rest. So I'm watching the level 2 here. You see the line in the sand there at 21.45. And as soon as I see it start to pop back up, I'm going to cover out the rest. And that's what I do there. So making $55.50. No big deal, not a huge win, but at least a green trade to start the week. This one ended up coming down a little bit more and then popped back up kind of throughout the rest of the morning. So overall, didn't trade it too poorly. Second and last trade of the day was here on FCX. You can see it starting to alert down there at a 16 right below me on the positive intensity scanner. The chart's looking pretty good. So I'm watching it here, and as it gets up through 45.30, I go ahead and get started with 200 shares at 45.35. And this one ends up being a bit interesting because this one ends up being one that doesn't really work out, but it kind of gives me little dips along the way that I can get in, get out, get in, get out, and that's what I ended up doing on this one. So this one's kind of an example of one that even when they don't really work, you can manage it to at least be green on it and not be just locked into I'm either in a winner or I'm in a loser. You can manage it along the way to either reduce it to a smaller loser or take a small win along the way. And that's what I ended up doing here. So I'm watching it. It's kind of moving back down a little bit here. makes a little bit of a fast spike there, and I go ahead and cover out half there at a 21-cent gain. And now I'm thinking, okay, if it pops back up here quickly, I can go ahead and get restarted back into my initial position size of 200 shares after I took the 100 share partial there. So right now, I'm once again not really sure what it's going to do. It ends up making a big pop there, and it just barely gets through high of day. So I didn't add immediately on that because I was looking for a better pop through high of day. So now I'm watching it, and I'm kind of like, well, maybe it's going to give a secondary little pop here and then kind of fade, and that's what it ends up doing. So I go ahead and add in there at about 45.78. Now I'm into my initial position again of 200 shares with an average of 45.57. I'm not overly in love with it, but it's still pretty extended overall, and it's got some volume behind it. So I'm like, okay, this has a better chance of not than not of working in my favor. So I'm watching it here, and it doesn't get up really any higher than that on this move. Starts coming back down towards my average. I'm like, okay, if we get down below 45.50, I'll probably just reduce it down by about 75% just to rake in some of those shares from the previous entry and take some profit on the higher entry. So it does get down below, and I actually see it get below 45.40 here. It's just when I click that 75% button, lock that in, and now I'm down to another 50 shares total, and hoping that this one can finally fade out a little bit more. It doesn't. You can see it goes up higher. I actually end up putting a stop over the highs there as it made that move higher and kind of consolidated a little bit, and I just put out a target at 45.60 just to cover this one out in case it comes down. It does, so I ended up making $37 on this trade. So not really, I wouldn't really consider this one a winning trade, but just an example of how you can kind of work in and out of one if it's not really going exactly how you plan. So that's going to do it for the day. Up $93. At least it's a green day on a Monday, Tuesday start to the week. Really enjoying the sweatshirt. I'm going to go get some sleep. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you hit like and subscribe. I'll see you later.